All right. So I want to introduce Cozy. She is, let's see, I met her, it's been a little over 3 years now. I met her at a retreat. Well, I guess maybe a little less than that. I met her at a retreat in Utah. And it was one of the scarier times for me. I was a type of girl that was nervous to do just about anything. And I was walking into a house filled with women that I had no idea who they were. I had only seen them on social media, and when I walked in, I immediately felt the warmth and love of these amazing women, and Cozy was one of them. And I was able to grow and learn so much at this retreat from her, and she was just always so welcoming to me. And now every time I see her, she's just like the sweetest thing ever. And on top of it, she is killing it in her coaching business, and I have loved watching her grow and watching her just soar. And if you aren't following her, I know we're not really supposed to be following fellow coaches, but I just love her posts. I just love her inspiration. She's so amazing. So without further ado, I'm gonna hand it off to Cozy.
Okay, hey guys. It's so funny because everybody, like, I always feel like I'm super boring on my stories and my posts. So if you're somebody that feels super boring, I think we all feel that way. We all feel like we have nothing to talk about. We're not special. All of us feel that way, so you're not alone. But I'll kind of briefly tell my story just slightly for people that don't know. So I started coaching like 6 years ago. So Micah is my sister-in-law. We always did random stuff all the time. Like even before she started coaching, she was always messaging me trying to do, because she played volleyball, so like college. So when she was done and at home, she wanted other like ways to be competitive, I think. So she'd always write me and like talk about, hey, let's do this challenge and this challenge, random people. And so we'd always do stuff like that. So when she said that she signed up with this thing called Beachbody, I mean, I knew what Insanity was. I'd done like half of it, but I was like, okay, I'll just do it, because I have always struggled with my weight my entire life. Like I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't struggle with my weight. I was always the biggest girl in my friend group. It's just how it always was. So I was like, okay, let's just do it. I put it on a credit card. We don't always recommend doing that, but I did because I wanted to try something new. I was sick of feeling that way. And I told her, I'm like, don't ever, I was kind of a brat. I was like, don't ever expect me or ask me to post or to post on social media or ever do this video, because I'm not going to. And she's like, okay, that's totally fine. And so it did take me a while to actually do those things that you guys, I was like painfully shy. Like, I'm pretty sure in church they would ask me to talk. I'm sure I've been asked to talk like 5 times and I say no every time because I hate speaking in front of people. I just don't like it. And so especially if I'm not like super confident in what I'm talking about, and I still feel like I get nervous about stuff all the time. But so fast forward like 2 years is finally when I kind of started actually coaching. I was working full time as a massage therapist, and I worked like 7 days a week. And I still like barely pay my bills. So you just don't make as much money as you think you do when you're going to sign up, or when you but my body was running down. So then I was looking into doing school for being a physical therapist assistant. And then I did all my prereqs, applied to the program, got in, realized, okay, I don't want to take out a million months to live. So I actually tried. I don't know. I think you can mute it if they don't. But yeah. So I then got through all my schooling, and you guys, in my schooling, there you go. In my schooling is when I got super intentional with coaching. And I remember I don't even remember how far, but I know I was in school. Obviously, I was stressed out about school. And I remember it was towards the end of the month. So I was trying to hit Success Club. I wasn't going to. I just kind of made the decision in my head that I wasn't going to. So of course you don't. And I remember Micah was like, well, because I was like, I hate posting. I was just being a brat. And she was like, well, then quit. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to quit. And I like remember the feelings of being like, I am going to actually do this and stop being a baby and complaining about how I'm feeling 24/7 and just do it, because it's clearly working for other people. Like, I'm not this terrible person that I shouldn't be successful. So stop complaining and being a baby about it. So then obviously finally did the coach training, went through that. Fast forward, you guys, I literally worked the business maybe an hour a day through school, but I did it every single day. And it took a long time. I felt like, I'm 6 years into the business, and I feel like it's taken me a long time, but at the same time, it hasn't, because time flies by so fast. Like, I can't believe we were at that retreat like 3 years ago this fall. Like, that's crazy, because it seems like it was yesterday. And time just goes by so fast. So then I finished school, worked part-time physical therapist assistant for like 6 months, and realized, I'm like, hey, if I spent 20 hours a week on my coaching business that I spend working at this job, and I liked it. It wasn't that I hated it, but I also hated people telling me when I needed to go to work all the time. And I hated missing out on family stuff, because I didn't live by my family, so I couldn't just go home whenever I wanted. And so I just it was actually 2 years ago, this time of year, September, October, that I stopped working as a physical, like I do like once a month maybe to fill in for people, but I've been coaching full time for 2 months or for 2 years, which is crazy. And I love every second of it. And it just makes me just so grateful for, we were talking about on my call last night, because Lauren spoke on my call, how everybody, you're going to have different phases in your life. Obviously, I mean, you have phases where you're single, where you get married and have young kids. And then when you have older kids, and then when your kids leave, like, we all have different phases of life. And that's how it is with the business. And when I was first coaching, like, I did not watch TV. I said no to a lot of friends' things because I just didn't have the time. And I had different priorities in my life for that time. Now I have the time that I can go do those things once my business activities are done. And I always just make it a priority. Like, I reward myself with things when my power hour is done. When I hit Success Club, I'll be like, oh, I can go get a pedicure. I hit Success Club for the month. Like, it sounds so dumb, but it totally works in my head. And I still do it. I still do stuff like that all the time. And you guys, it's literally, I am not the type of person that's going to go send 50, 100 invites a day. I don't. I send 10 to 15 a day, and I do it Monday through Friday. But I've done it for 4 years now, about 4, maybe 3.5 even, that I've been consistent with it. And you don't need to you don't need to recruit 20 people a month. You don't need to consistently sign up 12 people a month. Like, you don't have to do all those things. You just have to be consistent with signing up 3 people a month, helping 3 to 5 people a month every single month, and doing it every single day. Okay. So I just like have some of these things. I always, cause I am like such a pen and paper person. So when I go do these calls, I always go through like old notes that I make, and I always have stuff that I highlight, and it's still like, even then it like meant, like, it was so true then, and it's even more now. And I did always tell myself, in 5 years, what will I think of myself if I don't give it all I've got? And I think about that, because 5 years has already flown by really, really fast. And if I would have given up when Micah told me to and just quit, you guys, my life would be 100% different. Like, this coaching thing has totally changed the whole vision of my life and what I want in life and what I think is possible. And it's not like, again, I'm not special. I'm not like, I still am not at my goal weight. I still fluctuate in my journey all the time, but I'm still working on it all the time. And I just would be so, like, my life would be not nearly as good if I had quit. And I always, when I was going through school, and maybe when I was putting in consistent work every single day, I wasn't always seeing the results right away. You guys, sometimes it takes 6 months of being super consistent to see that kind of that momentum come. And then once that momentum's there, then you just got to keep riding with it, because so many people will all of a sudden start getting more people saying yes, and then they take their foot off the gas, and then they're back at zero. The worst thing and the most frustrating thing in this business is when people go crazy balls to the wall and they miss a goal, and then they completely take a step back. And it's super frustrating, because I want to be like, if you would just consistently keep going, you don't have to go crazy, you guys. the business, you'll reach your goals at some point. Everybody's timeline is different. Like Micah and me signed up. I signed up 1 week after Micah, and she's way further along than me because she was way more consistent. And I've totally accepted that it's 100% my fault. But guess what? My timeline is just a little bit different, and that's totally fine. That's just how it is. And we're all on different timelines, and that's okay. But I have no doubt that I will get there at some point, because I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to just take my foot off the gas. And I also realized that you guys, we have times where we really don't want to do our power hour and we really don't want to talk to people. I have those days too, where you're just like, I do not want to talk to one person. I don't want to connect with anybody. I don't care. I don't want to talk to people. Okay. Maybe I'm just the only one. I'm kind of like, I like to be around people, but I also really like my alone time. Like my roommates always make fun of me because I don't care to be in my room by myself for hours because I like to be alone. It's not like I don't care to be around 50 people all the time. But I also realize that when I tell myself, especially with like invites in my power hour, when I say later, I'll do it later, that becomes never. So you got to get in the habit of doing the whole eat that frog, doing the things that you really dislike the most. Your invites, probably most people don't enjoy inviting a ton. Do it first, you guys. I've almost gone in the habit of, I take my pre-workout in the morning, I'll read for a little bit, and I send my invites. I send my base invites, my like 10 invites a day, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I don't send invites. Sunday, I completely unplug because I need a day to just chill. And so when my base, like no matter what, 10 invites a day is done, and I do it in the morning, you guys, my day goes by so much better because I like connecting most days. For the most part, I love connecting and talking to people, but inviting, I still don't love it. But guess what? That's how we grow our business. And that is how I can get the other things in life that I want, is by sending invites. And so it takes, you can do voice memos. It takes 10 minutes to send 10 invites. You can do that while you're going to the bathroom. It doesn't matter. Like Lauren said yesterday, we all take our phones into the bathroom with us, and that's okay. Just make sure you're not like peeing as you're sending a voice memo. That would be weird. Don't do that. But like it takes, if you just get it done super fast in the morning, your whole day will go better, because then you're not being like, I have to do my power hour, so I have to do it. And that's not a fun thing to think about all day, every day. I love this quote, and I always bomb it. It says, imperfect, consistent action is way better than every once in a while perfect action. Okay, so I used to be the type that would sit and try to write up a post for literally like an hour or two. Like ridiculous, because I couldn't get my words and everything had to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd get frustrated and then just not even post it at all. Where if you just learn to have that discipline to show up, whether it's in your stories or doing a post every day, you're going to be way better off than finding the perfect post with the perfect picture, with the perfect lighting every single time. Okay. You got to just get yourself out there. You got to talk to people, show people that you're showing up, show people that just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you're not going to like not do your business. And I think that's what even my roommates have realized, is when they're like, let's go do this. I'm like, hey, we can go do that once, or we can go to the movie or whatever. I just got to do this and this. I have to finish my work, because yes, I'm at home all the time, but I'm still working every day. But it's kind of cool that if there's something going on, I literally can bust out my non-negotiable work in an hour a day, or I can spend time and do extra for 5 hours a day. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know another job that you get to do that, which is awesome. So yeah, through the whole me building my business, I learned the discipline to plan my life around calls and around other things that I wanted to finish with Beachbody. Like I didn't just, like, I know that I have a lot of coaches and a lot that'll be like, yeah, if I'm around, I'll hop on the call. And I get you guys, sometimes stuff comes up, that's totally fine. But at the same time, if you're around, you're never just going to be doing nothing at 7 p.m. at night. You have to plan it. And guess what? Other people can put your kids to bed once a month. Other people can maybe your kids can go to bed an hour earlier, an hour late. You have to like show, because honestly, I pay attention to people that are showing up to the calls, because I know that those are the people, they might not be my very top leaders at the time, but I know that they're the ones that are trying and showing up. Because if you're showing up for calls, you're showing up for your journey, you're probably doing your power hour. And those all are super intertwined. Yeah. So do you guys have any questions? Or Lauren, is there any like super specific things you want me to touch on? You guys, there's nothing easy about being consistent. You just have to do it. You have to do it when you feel like it. You especially have to do it when you don't feel like it. But you should have a number, a non-negotiable number of invites and connects that you do every single day. You better, like I always ask myself, well, every night before I go to bed, I ask myself, am I proud of myself? Because if I am not proud of myself, then I have other things that I can work on. But if I like can go to bed and be like, yeah, I'm proud of myself. I did do the things that were on that I needed to do. And I did talk to people and I did send those invites, then it's good. Like you don't have to, you guys, I promise you don't have to send 50, 60 invites a day to be successful. You just have to do it every day and be super patient and know that it's going to happen at some point. It's just might not happen on your timeline. So yeah, get that whole timeline. I'm going to be making this amount of money in this amount of time, because then your goals just kind of get, I don't know, skewed, because sometimes if you're at a certain rank, that doesn't mean you're making a certain amount of money, and vice versa. Because sometimes, like I've been at 5-star for 2 years now. I'm at 1-star in my second CBC, but I've been at 5-star for 2 years, but my income has consistently grown every year. Like, so I always think about like, just because my rank necessarily isn't jumping every year like I see all these other coaches doing, doesn't mean I'm not growing my business and growing the community that I have around my team. I'm growing it because I add new people to my team every month, and my people are growing. It just might not be as fast as some other people, and that's fine. So yeah, do you guys have any questions?
I love that. I wrote a bunch of stuff down because I think that the consistency of like the 10 to 15, like it's in my Success Club tracker to do 10 to 15. And I think for so long, I used to think I have to do at least 20, I have to do at least 30. And then I would be so overwhelmed because I was trying to get those in that I wasn't doing the other IPA. So I wasn't doing enough connecting. I wasn't doing enough expanding, which then in turn, I didn't have that many people to invite. And so for so long, I hit my head against the wall, like, how is this even possible? Because I can't. So, you know, if you're doing the IPAs, that makes it so much more, it makes it easier to do 10 to 15, and it's a reasonable amount. So it's good to hear someone at a 5-star level and stuff like that. And I've heard it recently more so that you don't have to do those crazy amounts. So that's, consistency is such an important part.
Well, and I think that if you're building solid connections with people every single day, you guys, connecting is by far the most important thing you need to be doing. If you're building those connections every day, you can send out 10, 15 invites, no problem. But if you're not building, and then you end up trying to do all these crazy invite blitzes where you're sending 50 invites a day, those are cold invites. And guess what? They're probably not going to join you for the first long while. Honestly, like people you're talking to and connecting with now, they're not going to join you for 3 to 6 months or a year or 2 years. Mm-hmm. But if you are constantly connecting with everybody along the way and you're inviting a few people every day, they're going to be way more likely to say yes than if you just send a million invites at once.
Yeah, that is so true. It took me way too long to figure that out. I think I was just always trying to get the invites done and all this kind of stuff when I really didn't put enough stock into the connections. And it was probably like 6 or 7 months ago when I finally was like, okay, who's actually like working with me? Who's on my team? Like who's doing all this kind of stuff? And it was like, they're people I've been talking to for so long that they've been like, I've just been watching your journey. I've got to do this with you. I know I got to jump in with you. And so that's so awesome. I also loved the invites after you drink your Energize, because like that's when like you're pumping and ready to go. And so I think when I think of my morning, I drink my pre while I like read my devotion, and I like that kind of stuff I can do later, right? Like the energy from it that you pop in before you get your workout in. I love that. So I think I'm going to try that tomorrow. That's
and you don't have to send a million, just send 10
yeah.
and you literally can send 10 invites in 10 to 15 minutes and then get on with your day. Because that whole eat that frog, once that's done, it's just like a weight off my shoulders. Like, okay, I did that, and your day just goes way better. I feel like my workout's better.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that. That's awesome.
And they have all day to respond at the same time.
Yeah.
Versus sometimes if you invite late at night, I feel like people might see it and they don't respond, and then the next day they get busy again. I don't know. I just feel like it's worked better for me mentally and just in my business to do that.
Yeah, that's actually that's a good thought, because I'm always doing it like it's like one of the last things I do. I don't know why. I probably because I need to eat that.
Like it's uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah. That's perfect. And then I loved how you talked about like building your life around calls and stuff, because I think like it is so easy to know that you got so many other things going on, but that is like your job. And I'll be honest, like that's where you make the connections. That's where you learn, like that's where you're hearing new ideas. Like, you know, that's the biggest thing I think. And so, yeah, my kids know and my family knows, like when I'm on the phone, like they might pop in and be like, look at me. And I'll be like, no, or they'll be like, yeah. Like my husband just popped, he's like, you want food? And I'm like, no, I'm okay right now. But I, you know, like they know like, hey, I don't want to leave her be. So I think that was super good. But I really loved your quote. So I want to make sure I get that right, because I want to, I'm going to put it in the chat too and tell it to my team. So imperfect, consistent action is way better than imperfect, consistent action is way better than perfect, inconsistent action. Is that?
Well, yeah, the same thing. So I have imperfect, consistent action is better than every once in a while perfect action. Because yeah, I used to do that all the time. And I'm like, a perfect post once or twice a week does nothing. You got to show up every day and do something every single day.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, so good. So good. And I also loved, am I proud of myself before going to bed? Like that's so good. That is so good, because I think like I do a results, like what did I accomplish today, right? But I think that sometimes just being like, you know, am I proud of what I did today? Because sometimes my power hours at the end, it's like I just check in, right? Like some days it's like I just gotta get this done. I'm like racing the clock. But if I just tweak a few things, I can really feel better about the way I finished my day. I love that. That's so good.
And like I got that from I went to a Tony Robbins event like a year and a half ago, and it was so good. And he talked about that, and he was just like, you should go to bed at night feeling proud of yourself in if not in some aspects of your life, if not every aspect of your life. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and what's the quote? I don't know where the thing is I always read, where it says, if you cannot get out of bed an hour earlier every day, you have weak ass goals that you can't, like, it's because your goals are not strong enough. And yeah, I mean, obviously he's pretty crude, but yeah, it was so good, because if you can't get out of bed, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too, but if you can't get out of bed to get your day going, you don't have a big enough reason to show up every day. You don't. And that sounds so terrible, because most people's biggest why is their family, their kids. And sometimes, like, don't take it the wrong way, but sometimes I think people just say that because they have to say it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Of course you love and care about your kids and you want to be at home with them and you want to, but if that's the biggest reason that you're doing this, why can't you send invites and why can't you show up for yourself? Because clearly that's not your biggest why. You have to dig deeper and figure out really why are you doing it, mm-hmm. because it should make you be able to get up and keep pushing when it gets hard, because you guys, it's going to get hard. There's going to be lots of days that you feel like crap, and lots of times where you've talked to a million people and people are still saying no. But you know what? You just keep going, keep talking to people, because there's going to be, I always tell my team, there's going to be days that you feel like you can't even keep your head above water, But past that, you guys, it's going to be like way better. And you got to ride with the good times. You got to keep going with the good times, but don't get discouraged on the bad times. I always tell my coaches that don't ever think about quitting on a bad day, because if you feel like quitting on a bad day, that's the wrong decision. You're completely basing those feelings off of your feelings, like your actions off of your feelings. So don't ever let yourself quit on a bad day. If you want to quit something, make sure you're having a really good day, because you're not going to quit on a good day because you're in the right headspace. But yeah,
that's good.
Well, like more people want to quit when they're going through a hard time. I get that you're going through a hard time, but at the same time, don't just let yourself off the hook. Like, don't be okay to live a mediocre life if that's not what you want, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well,
so, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So one thing that I love what you just said, because, like, there's been times, well, when I first started coaching and like actively coaching, I was like, oh, these people made it really big, really fast. And so I'm going to do that. That's the person I'm going to be. And if you don't do that, then it's really easy to start doubting yourself and thinking, okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But at the same time, like, my husband and I have had this conversation several times where I'm like, dude, I'm just not where I want to be. One, I'm not putting in the work that I need to put in. Two, have I impacted other people's lives? Yes. Have I changed my life in a good way? Yes. Like, there's no question whether this has been a good thing for me. And it's like, there's no question of quitting something like this, because it's so good. It's so positive. Like, whether or not you're making thousands of dollars a month, like, you're changing your life and you are having a more positive impact on others around you. And so it's like, there's no question, you know, like, whether or not you're doing it as fast as you thought or not, it's still a positive thing. Like, yes, push for those big goals. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's, have I impacted people's lives today? Like, have I made my family better today by taking care of myself? Have I, like, all those little things add up to, this is a life improvement, you know?
Yeah. And if you guys haven't listened to the book Build to Last with the yellow background, you guys, it's so good. And he talked about the whole, you get qualities from 7 generations before you, and qualities about yourself go on 7 generations back, or like after you. So think about the changes that you're making in your life. Honestly, you guys, they can be so, like, if you can legit get in the habit of learning how to change your habits, learning how to change things in your own life, it can impact 7 generations, not just your own kids, but like generations. Which, how many things do we learn from our parents? Tons. And if you can, like, I just think that was like so awesome, because we have so much control in impacting, literally in our own family, thousands of lives, which is crazy. If you can just have that discipline of just doing it, you know, you just gotta do it.
That's so good. And I was saying this yesterday, like, one, this kind of goes with what Erin's saying, like, you know, you're not only like that whole getting out of bed early, like, you know, what is your goal to get you out of bed in the morning? Because I used to be the same way, like, I dragged myself out of bed. And it took me a while, and it really became like, okay, this is what everyone says I need to do. I need to be, you know, getting up at 5 a.m. I need all this stuff. Well, now it's more like starting my morning on the offense versus on defense, making sure that I'm in the right place, because that projects the rest of my day, right? But more so because I need to show my kids, like, yeah, I am up early. Yeah, I'm up late. Like, that is my why. Like, I want to get this debt paid off. Like, I want to do all this stuff. And so, yes, if I have to be through a lot of little pain, you know what I mean? But on top of it, the messages sometimes that we get, like, how, you know, you made a difference in my life, or, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That is exactly what I needed to hear today. Or seeing your smiley face, or thank you for your positive thoughts. Like, people need that, right? We needed that. And someone reached out to us. So I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Does anyone else have any questions? I don't want to keep her too long tonight.
You're good. I don't know. I just think that, and sometimes I think that when people say, it's easy for you to be like, oh, this is so awesome and it's blessed your life. But you guys have blessed my life from day one, physically. first off, it was I saw the physical transformation first, but the longer I stayed into it, the more blessings I see come from it. You guys, it can improve every aspect of your life, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. And I just think about how I'm just a better person in general because of this business. I'm not a brat, like I used to be. So I just am super grateful for it. I'm way more pleasant to be around because I think I cut out. I'm kind of
Oh, that was so good. So good.
But I don't know. Just if you're going through a rough time, just stick with it because I promise it'll be so worth it, you guys. So worth it. And I don't know. Like you always say, when you go to old folks' homes, people always regret things.
Yeah.
Don't go through this and just have regret. Just keep working hard and it'll pay off, I promise.
So good. Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Well, sometimes I feel like we all feel like we don't have anything to say, really.
I know.
I'm like, I don't do anything special. And that's the thing is, I don't do anything special. I just show up every day. So,
yeah.
I need to be fancy. If you go to my team page and I still use Micah's training, I haven't recreated any of that. Why? That's not
right.
things I need to spend time on. I need to spend time on building connections with people. You don't need all this fancy stuff that you do see sometimes, but I honestly could care less about that. So I don't know. It's just focus on the people and not yourself, and it'll turn out to be a good thing.
So true. So true. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, I don't want to hold you up any longer. So thank you so much. I loved this month. This was amazing. I really appreciate us doing this together. So
super fun.
Yes. So, okay. Well, you guys have a good night and get your power hours done. If you haven't done those, eat that frog and get those invites out, and let's crush the rest of this month. We are almost there, you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.